are live. I believe that we are finally live. So let's get right at it. Let me pull up the screen here because I've been having all kinds of fun issues on this stuff lately. Let's share the prop bets right off the bat. Okay, let's make sure that this is being seen. Okay, it looks like it's going. Hopefully it is. Prop bets, Super Bowl 58. All right. Odds to win the Super Bowl MVP. It looks like if the Chiefs win, the best bet is Patrick Mahomes. Not really much of a surprise there. Now, Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey are kind of splitting the vote, maybe 2/3 to 1/3 there, but right about that kind of odds. Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey if the Niners pull off the big win. Now let's go down to more of the fun prop bets with touchdowns. There's really here 3 players that the betting community think will score touchdowns. One of them being there, Isaiah Pacheco, which is not necessarily a surprise. Kansas City has relied on him throughout the playoffs, throughout the season. He's done very well. No one even hears about Tyreek Hill anymore with Pacheco in the backfield and also catching the ball for the Chiefs. I'm going to scroll down here, and if I go too fast, I apologize in advance. But we have 2 other players. They're not going to be any surprises. Travis Kelce, minus 125 to about minus 100 for scoring a touchdown. Pacheco, as you see, I didn't say this out loud in case you didn't read it, minus 110 to about minus 135. But the final player here has the most likelihood that a touchdown, and it is not George Kittle, although he is in the plus 100s. It is the man Christian McCaffrey, who goes, his range of scoring touchdowns is everywhere from minus 210 to minus 400. So they're really banking, the betting community that is that McCaffrey's going to score a touchdown, and then you could see it as kind of a split. You can look at it different ways between Pacheco and Kelce. Now, if it's going to be over the 47.5 over underline, and the 2-point spread that it is on Thursday, February 1st, you're probably looking at, the possibility of McCaffrey scoring 2 touchdowns, maybe 1 running, one catching, and then 1 by Kelce and 1 by Pacheco. I mean, that's just the way it is. That's 14 points there. So, by both sides. So that puts you at 28 right there, and that doesn't count any field goals or running touchdowns by the quarterbacks. Just to go up for a second, let's look at what they say. Do they have the numbers up here? Oh, the defenses, it's kind of a wash as far as scoring a touchdown, right in the 600. Well, I guess 475 to about 750, plus 475 to plus 750. So about the same. Purdy, not likely in the gambling world's idea to score a touchdown, but you never know. He's got some good feet. Mahomes a little bit better. I would say he's about halfway, 50% better chance or so of scoring a touchdown, but still kind of a long ways away. One thing to think about when it comes to Super Bowls, a lot of times quarterbacks do run it in that short goal line, that 3rd and 5 or 4 or 2, probably 2 or 3 or 4 in there. You do see them scramble in. You see Mahomes do that. I always like to think about the Elway late in his career when he did that windmill tumble to get into the end zone. That was something that he really wasn't known to be that mobile quarterback, but he was doing it for the Super Bowl. So that's what I'm talking about there. Now, the most bet player props, and this makes a lot of sense. The 2 that over 99% of the money, where 99% of the money is the over, is Brock Purdy rushing for 11.5 rushing yards. Now, Brock Purdy is, well, especially against the Lions, was, pretty mobile. He might rush 11.5 yards on 1 third down play. I think he showed that in the second half against the Lions. I think he can do that again. Travis Kelce with over 6.5 receptions, I think might be a stretch. And the only reason why is there might be a chance that, Kansas City wants to run the ball a little bit. If they do take a lead, they might really pound the ball in, eat up the clock, especially in the second half. He may not get to 8 receptions. He's got good hands. He doesn't drop the ball a lot, but he may not get the opportunity of 7 or 8 receptions if the first half goes the way of the Chiefs. But you never know. The first half went the way of the Chiefs against the Ravens, but they didn't really score in the second half. And that would keep his reception down. Not a lot of first downs by the Chiefs then. Most bet player to score a touchdown. We already kind of talked about this. You're really looking at McCaffrey, number one. Then you have Pacheco. Then you have Kelce. And then it kind of drops off with Samuel and Mahomes. So look for McCaffrey to score a touchdown in this game. The odds are really there. The betting is really there. And let's face it, he can catch it. He can run it. And he probably will have a touchdown. If it's not a defensive juggernaut and it is, a 27-24 or 34-28 kind of game that I think that it might be, that affects the over, and you will have more touchdowns. You'll have a lot more scoring. So the receptions for Kelce will go up and the touchdowns will go up for the players. Now, again, I'm not making any promises. I just think that it can be a high-scoring game. I think there's enough offensive weapons here. When you look in and see that both teams have great tight ends, they both can run the ball. Their runners can also come out of the backfield and catch the ball. So there's a lot of pluses here. A lot of screen plays, a lot of wide out kind of runs and or catches by the running backs. Now, when it comes to passing yards, we're looking at about 260.5 to 242.5 between Mahomes and Purdy. I'm not surprised by that. I do think there'll be a lot of running. If one team gets a lead, they're going to really want to eat that clock. There won't be as many passes. You're looking at a lot of 7-yard gains on a pass, those kinds of things. I expect the tight ends to play a major role. If Kittle is stymied in the game, sort of the way he was in the first half against the Lions, that's going to really hurt the 49ers, I think, because that option will be wiped out. And if Kelce can get open like he normally can and can catch that ball, it's going to open things up for the running game, obviously. Moving the ball, getting first downs, all the things that the Chiefs are all about. So I think that aspect of the game will be I think there will be some controls on the passing because the run game is so good. Now, rushing yards is about what you would think. They're looking at McCaffrey having more. The over-under for him is 90.5. The over-under pretty much for Pacheco is 67.5. And then they have the 11.5 for Purdy and Mahomes around 25.5, which I actually think that Purdy might outrush Mahomes only because he may need to. With players like Snead on the defense for the Chiefs, who's all over the field making tackles behind the line of scrimmage and on receivers, I think that you're going to see Purdy run like he did in the second half. I think the key to the 49ers' success is Purdy getting out of jams. I think it's going to be like that. And you got to figure the Chiefs are going to be a little bit better tacklers than the Lions were. Purdy was able to really keep the game moving, stay on his feet on some plays, and I think the Chiefs are going to be knocking him down. I think they're going to be tackling him. But if Purdy can stay on his feet, I do think that will be a benefit for the Chiefs. Receiving yards, really looking at Kelce leading the way. Then we have a whole swath of people: Rice, Brandon, Samuel, McCaffrey coming out of the backfield about 34. We have Pacheco at about 17. I think if Pacheco starts getting over 20, 25 yards out of the backfield and he's running the ball well, that is just going to be hard to get over for the Niners. Now, I will say McCaffrey, they're looking at him. If you look at the 34 and a half, and they're saying he's going to have receptions. Let me just go back to McCaffrey here. They're saying McCaffrey's going to have, let's just call it 5 receptions at 34 and a half. Let's call that 35. So they're looking at him at about 7 yards per catch. If that's the case, why not go to him more until it goes down to no yards or 1 yard? Why would you drop off from that? He's such an offensive threat. His speed is so much of an outlier. If McCaffrey can get open, if McCaffrey can catch and run after the catch, the yaks, if he can get that, it's going to be tough for the Chiefs. It's going to be very tough for the Chiefs. I do think Kelsey probably, even on a defensive game, is going to be targeted at least 5 or 6 times. So I think they're right in line with the number of receptions for him. The real difference is it going to be is Mahomes going to be Mahomes? No interceptions, very quality passing numbers, good quarterback number, a lot of first downs, moving the ball frequently. If you look at the first half of that game against the Ravens, they really were able to do whatever they wanted with the ball. Then in the second half, they couldn't score. They couldn't get a first down. And if you look at the Niners, the whole game was about their second half. So it's going to be really interesting. The Niners are going to come in knowing that they can overcome a deficit, where the Chiefs are going to be doubting themselves as to, are we a second half team? Can we put up the points? Can we deal with the adjustments from the other team to continue to put points up? I don't think this is not a game where Kansas City can put goose eggs up in the third and fourth quarter, or even one of those quarters. I think they're going to have to continue to score. I think this is going to be one of those games where, if you look at like a baseball game where there's almost runs every single inning, I think this is going to be points every single quarter by both teams to win this thing. This is going to be that 31-28, 34-31. This is going to be that 27-24. I feel, I don't know, and please don't bet with me, but I personally feel that this is going to be over the 47.5 line. If I said that previously, I apologize. It's just something that I really feel strongly about. This is really nothing. Let me go back to our screen, change some things for us so we can look at some other screens here and talk about some crazier prop bets. I have I don't have the numbers on these, but I do have just some of the things they'll be betting that are off the football field. Obviously, one of them is, Taylor Swift. And what we're going to see here is these 4 prop bets, how many times she'll be shown on camera during the halftime show. Will they appear in a commercial together? I don't see that happening, but I know that Travis did do some of the COVID vaccine commercials, and I think she's a supporter of that, so maybe they'll put the 2 of them together. The pregnancy, I think, I don't know. I could be wrong about this. I see it as somewhat of a long shot, but you never know. Again, I have no information one way or the other. These are just my thoughts. Do not bet. Do not agree to anything I'm saying. Just take it all with a grain of salt. I would not bet with me. I'm not a gambler. I'm just letting you know from the football I know and from what I watch on the podcast of the New Heights with the Kelsey brothers. These are just things I'm thinking from what I watch. So will they be kissing after the game? That is a great question. I think if they win, if the Chiefs win, yes, they'll be on the field like they were for the AFC Championship. Now, I think if they lose, the definition of after the game, are we talking like 3 hours after the game? Yeah, they might be shown kissing, riding, getting on a plane, getting on a bus. I think I saw those kinds of videos throughout the season where they would meet each other. He would, she was in South America or whatever it is. I mean, define after the game. If you're talking about within an hour after the game, You only will see that probably if they win, would be my guess, but I don't know that. Sure, some crazy bets here. Obviously, what's his first song? All. That's what they do for all the halftime folks. What's their first song? Who he'll perform with? Who's going to be on stage? Who will be with him? The number of songs. Sometimes the songs will morph into other songs. Like he might sing for 8 minutes, but it might be a combination of four of his songs or something like that. So I don't know how they break that down. I guess they would count it as four. Now this next one here, the number of backup dancers, I have no idea. I don't even really know how they figured that one out. So I have no guess on that as my timer goes off, of course, while I'm recording this, while I'm live, I guess. And brand of shoes, I guess if you can see them, if they show them, you'll know. I have no idea what brands of shoes he wears. Will he have sunglasses? I think, doesn't he always wear sunglasses? But what do I know on that either? Maybe for the Super Bowl he won't have it. Well, one of my favorite bets here, the really crazy prop bets, is the Gatorade, the Gatorade bath bet. What color it will be? Last year when the Chiefs won, it was orange. My guess is it'll be orange again. I think football players are well, most athletes, or many athletes at least, are superstitious. So my guess is they'll have orange Gatorade because they had that last year. That's just my thought process. Again, I don't know anything. I would not bet at all with what I'm saying because I don't know anything and I'm not a gambler. But being superstitious, as most athletes are, as superstitious as most athletes are, I would say that they would want to keep things the same. Now, there are prop bets about what company's TV ad will air first. That is crazy. I would have no idea how to pick that one. And what celebrity will be featured in the greatest number of commercials? I would say that you're going to possibly see a lot of Taylor Swift, but she's got to demand such a price that, maybe it'll be Travis Kelce. I'm assuming, as well as being an athlete, he's considered a celebrity. He already does some commercials. Maybe his brother, Jason, might be in a bunch of commercials because he's very loved by the entire nation, if you will. So I think that'd be one. Anyway, so those would be sort of my guesses. I don't know anything. I am not saying any of this in any way that you should make a bet based on any of the information that I'm giving. I would not bet based on the information that I'm giving. I'm just providing my thoughts on all of this. I want to thank you because this is our first live stream. I think it went somewhat successful. I'll have to look at the tape and make sure. But we'll be doing more of these. I'll be letting you know. We'll have a whole list of all the various live streams and what days and what times they are. They won't be so random, but I wanted to get one off the plate here, and we'll go from there. So thank you very much, and enjoy your day, and look for more. Thanks.